Some people stay calm when pressure rises. Most don't. Most people lose control when the stakes are real. They rush. They react. They chase comfort. They mistake movement for progress. They confuse effort with strategy. When life pushes back, they push harder. And that's why they lose. This isn't about fighting another person. It's about facing pressure, distraction, and impulse. Most people don't realize this. They think the opponent is outside. But the real opponent is poor positioning. The inability to act clearly under pressure. In strategy, reacting late is the same as losing. In life, it looks the same. You rush decisions. You overcommit. You panic under stress. You move without a plan. This isn't rare. This is normal. This isn't just your problem. Almost everyone today struggles with this. We live in a time of constant reaction. Messages, deadlines, noise, expectations. Your mind stays busy, but your actions stay weak. It feels like noise, constant noise. Modern psychology explains part of it. Under stress, the brain defaults to habit and impulse, not reason. When pressure hits, clarity disappears. Unless it's trained. This is where Hai enters. Hai is a Japanese concept of strategy. The poetic translation is the law of winning. The literal translation is method of strategy. But Hai was never just about combat. It was about control. Control of distance, control of timing, control of the mind. Hai teaches one thing above all else. Position before action. Because the person who chooses the field controls the outcome. The person who reacts loses it. This idea was taught to warriors. But it was meant for life. Your work is a battlefield. Your habits are a battlefield. Your emotions are a battlefield. If you don't choose your position, something else will. Distraction. Fear. Comfort. Hai matters because it teaches you how to stay composed when things get difficult. It trains you to act cleanly instead of emotionally. If you understand this principle, you'll understand why effort alone never worked, and why discipline always felt unstable. This is not about becoming aggressive. It's about becoming deliberate. You're about to see what most people never learn. Alo, uko, uklo, uko, alo, luk, alo, uklo. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and tell me in the comments the habit you want to master. Now, back to the story. Chapter 1. The Story of Ren. Ren wasn't lazy, that was the problem. He cared, he tried, and he kept failing anyway. Every morning started the same way. He set his alarm early. He told himself today would be different. Some days he woke up on time, most days he didn't. He sat at his desk with a plan written out. One task. One priority. Then his phone buzzed. He checked it once. Then again. 30 seconds passed. Then 10 minutes. He told himself he'd start after one more scroll. He didn't. This was his pattern. Trying. Failing. Resetting. Trying again. He downloaded productivity apps. Deleted them a week later. He watched videos about discipline. Felt motivated for a day. Then fell back into the same habits. Late nights became normal. Scrolling in bed. Telling himself he deserved a break. The next morning he felt it. Heavy head. Low energy. He rushed through the day. Late to class. Late to work. Small mistakes started piling up. Missed details. Half-finished tasks. People noticed. A coworker passed him quietly. Finished the project Ren said he'd do. A teacher asked why his work was always late. Not angry. Just disappointed. That hit harder. This was his breaking point. Ren started feeling ashamed. Not dramatic shame. Quiet shame. The kind that sits in your chest. The kind that follows you home. Weeks passed. Then months. The cycle didn't change. He tried waking up earlier again. Lasted 3 days. He tried studying without his phone. Grabbed it after 30 seconds. He told himself he just needed motivation. More energy. Better timing. But none of it worked. His mind felt crowded. Thoughts jumped from one thing to another. He couldn't stay with anything long enough to finish it. Even things he cared about. Sleep became irregular. Some nights too late. Some nights restless. His body felt tired all the time, not exhausted, just drained. Ren started avoiding challenges, not because he didn't want to grow, but because failing again felt worse. Opportunities slipped away quietly. No big disaster. Just missed chances. Someone else got picked. Someone else moved ahead. He told himself he'd catch up later. But later never came. This wasn't just about work anymore. It followed him everywhere. Conversations drifted. He stopped listening halfway through. Plans felt overwhelming, even small ones. He felt out of control, not outwardly. Internally, this was the truth he avoided. He wasn't choosing his actions anymore. He was reacting to them. And reacting always came too late. One evening, he sat alone with his laptop open, an unfinished task on the screen. He stared at it for a long time, then closed it. He didn't feel angry. He felt tired. Tired of restarting. Tired of promising himself things he didn't keep. Something finally snapped. He realized this wasn't a phase. This was his life. And if nothing changed, this was exactly how it would stay. He sat there quietly. No phone. No distraction. Just the weight of the truth. He couldn't continue like this. Not dramatically. Not loudly. Just honestly. But he didn't know what would challenge him next. Ren didn't look for a breakthrough. It found him quietly. A few days later, he met Hiroshi. Not a coach. Not a motivational speaker. Just a man who lived with order. Hiroshi listened more than he spoke. When Ren explained his problems, Hiroshi didn't interrupt. Then he said one word. Hi. Ren asked him to repeat it. Hi, a Japanese concept of strategy. The poetic translation is the law of winning. The literal translation is method of strategy. Hiroshi said it wasn't about fighting people. It was about positioning the mind. Hi teaches you how to see clearly under pressure. How to act without rushing. How to choose before reacting. Hiroshi repeated the word again. Hi. He explained it simply. Before action comes position. Before effort comes clarity. The concept was taught by warriors and craftsmen. People who worked under real pressure. People who couldn't afford confusion. Hiroshi mentioned Miyamoto Musashi. Musashi wrote about He as a way to win without panic. Not through force, through understanding distance, timing, and control. Musashi believed the fight was decided before the first move. By position. By awareness. Hiroshi paused. A scattered mind cannot win. He said it calmly, like a fact, not advice. Ren didn't argue. He felt exposed. Hiroshi explained that most people fail before they begin. Not because they lack effort, but because they choose the wrong position. They multitask. They react. They chase urgency. Hyōhō teaches the opposite. Slow the mind. Choose the field. Then act once. Hiroshi said Hyōhō wasn't motivation. It was discipline. Motivation depends on mood. Hyōhō depends on identity. Who you are under pressure matters more than what you want. That was the point. Ren felt resistance. Part of him wanted a shortcut, a faster fix. Hiroshi noticed. This isn't exciting, he said. It's effective. He explained how the mind works under stress. When pressure rises, the brain defaults to habit, not logic. That's why Ren kept repeating the same patterns. His identity was built around reaction, not choice. Hyōhō was a way to rebuild that identity. Slowly, deliberately. Hiroshi didn't give him a speech, he gave him one instruction. Control the position first. No apps, no hacks, just one task, one field, one move. Ren didn't fully understand it yet. But something felt different. Not excitement. Clarity. This wasn't about trying harder. It was about acting cleaner. For the first time, Ren didn't feel motivated. He felt steady. This was the beginning of his real training. Chapter 1. The fall. The first weeks were harder than Ren expected. Hiroshi didn't change his schedule. He didn't give him a new routine. He gave him one rule. One task. One block. No negotiation. Ren nodded. Then failed the first day. He sat down to work. Opened the file. His hand reached for the phone without thinking. He caught himself. Stopped. Put it face down. 10 minutes later, he picked it up again. The block collapsed. He felt frustrated. Not angry, just tired. This wasn't progress. It felt slower than before. But Hiroshi wasn't surprised. "You're not weak," he said. "You're untrained." Ren didn't like that word, but it felt accurate. The next day, Ren tried again. Same rule. Same result. He failed faster. But something changed. He noticed it. He noticed how quickly his mind tried to escape. How uncomfortable stillness felt. This wasn't about productivity. It was about avoidance. But he didn't expect what came next. Kuro. Chapter 2. The mentor Hiroshi met him once a week. Always briefly. Hiroshi had worked for years in a high-pressure field. Deadlines. Decisions. No room for panic. He said he used to be reactive too. Always busy. Always scattered. Then he learned high. Strategy isn't about doing more, Hiroshi said. It's about choosing fewer moves. He explained how habits work. Simple terms. A trigger appears. The mind seeks relief. The body moves before you decide. Ren listened carefully. "So I'm not choosing?" Ren asked. "Not yet," Hiroshi said. They didn't talk long. Hiroshi never lectured. He gave Ren one adjustment. Shorter blocks. Clear start. Clear end. No motivation. Just position. Ren tried it. It felt small, almost pointless, but he stayed for the full block. Not perfectly, but present. You've probably felt this too. That quiet discomfort when you don't escape. But things were about to get harder. Kalonin go. Chapter 3. The first steps. After 2 weeks, Ren saw something new. He finished a task early. Not a big one, but a real one. He didn't celebrate. He barely noticed. Then it happened again. A study session without switching tabs. A work block without checking messages. Small wins. Hiroshi nodded when Ren told him. High is repetition, he said, not intensity. Ren asked why it felt harder than motivation. Because motivation distracts you from identity, Hiroshi replied. This builds it. Ren started to see the pattern. When he chose the field, the work felt lighter. When he didn't, everything felt heavy. But the habit wasn't gone. One stressful afternoon, Ren broke the rule. Scrolled for 20 minutes. The old shame returned. He thought he'd failed again. But Hiroshi reframed it. Notice faster next time. That was it. No guilt, no restart, just return. But he didn't expect this next part. Underscore. Chapter 4. The setback midway through the semester. Pressure spiked. Deadlines stacked. Sleep slipped. Ren told himself he could handle it. He couldn't. He stayed up late, checked his phone in bed. The next day his focus collapsed. He missed a key detail at work. A small mistake, but visible. Someone else stepped in and fixed it. The familiar feeling returned. This was his breaking point. Ren almost quit the system. He told Hiroshi it wasn't working. Hiroshi listened, then said one sentence. You're judging identity by outcomes. Ren didn't understand. Hiroshi explained it simply. Outcomes fluctuate. Identity stabilizes. You showed up, Hiroshi said. That matters. Ren realized something. Before, he quit because failure meant he was weak. Now, failure meant he needed to adjust position. That changed everything. But the lesson wasn't finished. To the Leswoi, Chapter 5. The method clicks. Hiroshi refined the rule. Same block. One added step. Before starting, Ren had to write the next physical action. Not the goal. The action. Open document. Write one paragraph. That was it. Hiroshi explained why. Under stress, the brain avoids ambiguity. Clear actions reduce resistance. Ren tried it that night. It worked. Not perfectly, but cleanly. He didn't feel driven. He felt steady. The noise quieted. Have you ever felt that shift? Not excitement. Control. Ren realized high wasn't about force. It was about alignment. Field. Position. Move. And then everything shifted. Chapter 6. The Test A major evaluation arrived. The kind Ren used to dread. He prepared differently this time. No marathon sessions, no panic. Short blocks, clear actions. The day came. Ren felt nervous, but not scattered. He stayed with the task, one step at a time. When pressure rose, he returned to position. The result wasn't perfect, but it was solid. Later, someone commented on it. You were focused, they said. Consistent. That word stayed with him. Consistent. But the biggest opponent wasn't outside. Hyōhō, Chapter 7. The turning point. A few months later, Ren noticed something subtle. He didn't negotiate with himself as much. He started on time, stopped on time. Discipline felt quieter now. Hiroshi pointed it out. You're not forcing behavior anymore, he said. You're acting from identity. Ren understood. He wasn't trying to be disciplined. He was someone who chose position first. Old habits still appeared, but they didn't control him. He noticed faster, returned faster. No drama. Hiroshi gave him one final reminder. Comfort is a trap. Ren didn't argue. He had felt the difference. He didn't realize it yet, but he was finally beginning to change. Hiroshi never called high a mindset. He called it a system. A system works when motivation fails, he said. High was not something Ren believed in. It was something he practiced. Hiroshi broke it down into a simple structure. Clear enough to follow, strict enough to hold under pressure. He called it C. Position. Execute. High always starts with seeing. Once see the field, most people skip this step. They act first and think later. Seeing the field means noticing what pulls your attention. Your phone. Your emotions. Your urge to escape discomfort. The brain seeks dopamine. Quick relief. Easy reward. That's why distraction feels automatic. Hiroshi explained it simply. Under stress, the brain defaults to habit. Whatever you've repeated most will appear first. Ren started watching his patterns. Not judging them, just noticing. Every time he sat down to work, the same urges appeared. Check messages. Open another tab. Seeing the field didn't remove them. It made them visible. Visibility changed everything. Logora, ahulokoa. Choose your position. Once you see the field, you choose your position. Position is not motivation. It's environment and rules. Hiroshi was strict here. Phone off the desk. Notifications silent. One task written clearly. No negotiation. This mattered because the brain follows friction. What's easy gets done. What's hard gets avoided. Ren stopped relying on willpower. He changed the setup. Same desk. Different position. High teaches this clearly. If you choose the field, you control the outcome. Most people let the field choose them. Underscore. 3. Execute one move. This was the hardest rule. One move only. Not multitasking. Not planning 5 steps ahead. One physical action. Write the paragraph. Solve the problem. Send the email. Hiroshi explained why. Multitasking fractures attention. Each switch drains mental energy. Neuroscience shows it takes minutes to refocus after switching. Those minutes add up. Ren felt it immediately. When he stayed with one move, resistance dropped. The work stopped feeling heavy. This wasn't intensity. It was clarity. High repeated this lesson again and again. Clean action beats rushed effort. Score sora, score course. Unwan the og sora, score course. 4. Lock identity. This was the core of the system. Hiroshi made it blunt. You don't rise to goals, he said. You fall to identity. Ren had built an identity around reaction. Around starting and stopping. High required a new identity. Not I feel motivated, but I am the kind of man who finishes. Identity forms through evidence. Every completed block was proof. Behavior reinforced belief. Belief reinforced behavior. This loop was powerful. Neuroplasticity made it stronger over time. Repeated actions strengthened the pathway. Discipline stopped feeling forced. It started feeling normal. Core the Florta Core 5. recover and return. Hiroshi knew Ren would fail sometimes. Everyone does. Hyōhō accounted for this. No spirals, no guilt, notice. Reset, return. That was the protocol. Failure was not a signal to quit. It was feedback. This mattered because shame kills consistency. The brain avoids what feels painful. By removing judgment, Ren returned faster. Hyōhō stayed intact. Undergo, 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 undergo. Repeated the system often. See the field, choose position, execute one move, lock identity, recover and return. Simple. Not easy. This is why most people fail today. They live overstimulated. Constant switching. No clear identity. They confuse effort with strategy. Hyōhō fixes that. It replaces chaos with structure. Impulse with choice. Ren applied it everywhere. Studying. Work. Health. Short sessions. Clear rules. Have you noticed how fast you escape discomfort? Hyōhō trains you to stay. Not through force. Through position. The system didn't promise fast results. It promised stability. And stability is what lasts. But the real test was still coming. The change didn't arrive all at once. It came in stages. At first, the wins were small. Ren started waking up without arguing with himself. Not earlier than everyone else. Just on time. He completed one focused block every morning, then another in the afternoon. Nothing dramatic happened. But something held. This was the first sign. Underscore, underscore, underscore Russ. After a few months, the routine settled. Ren no longer needed reminders to begin. He sat down and started. Work that used to drag now moved forward. Assignments finished before deadlines. He checked his phone less. Not because of discipline. Because the urge felt weaker. This was medium progress. The habits were no longer fragile. They were becoming normal. Then pressure returned. A tight deadline. Multiple responsibilities at once. The old pattern tried to come back. Ren felt the pull, the rush, the urge to escape. This time, he paused. He saw the field, chose his position, executed one move. The noise didn't disappear, but it stopped controlling him. This changed everything. The breakthrough wasn't emotional. It was behavioral. Ren noticed he finished tasks he used to avoid. Without drama. He handled stress with fewer reactions. Less internal chaos. People around him noticed. A coworker said it first. "You're different lately," they said. More focused. Later, a supervisor commented on his consistency. Not speed. Consistency. At home, someone mentioned he seemed calmer. More present. Ren didn't correct them. He just noticed. He wasn't chasing motivation anymore. He was operating from position. Old challenges still appeared. Late nights, unexpected pressure, moments of fatigue. But they didn't derail him. He returned faster. This was the real transformation. New core. Months passed. Then a year. Ren's routines held through change. New projects. Higher expectations. He didn't panic. He applied Hyōhō the same way. Every time. See the field. Choose position. Execute one move. The identity solidified. He wasn't the same anymore. Not because life became easier, but because he stayed in control. Social recognition followed quietly. More trust at work. More responsibility. People relied on him. That had never happened before. Ren didn't celebrate it. He respected it. Because he knew how easily it could disappear without discipline. Ren finished his work earlier than expected. He closed his laptop. He remembered how he used to sit there, staring at unfinished tasks, avoiding them. The contrast was clear. He remembered how he used to sit there, staring at uncomped perfect. He became consistent. And consistency changed everything. He remembered the rule that started it all. Position before action. That was Hyōhō. He didn't need to think about it anymore. He lived it. You know this feeling. When effort feels clean. When focus doesn't feel forced. Ren had reached that point. not through intensity, through discipline, and he knew this wasn't the end. It was the new normal. The final lesson was quieter. Ren's story was never about becoming exceptional. It was about becoming stable. He didn't defeat anyone. He stopped reacting. That's what Hai really teaches. Not how to fight, how to choose. Musashi understood this. Strategy was never about the opponent. It was about position, timing, and control of the mind. Ren learned the same lesson in a modern way. When you choose your position, your actions become simpler. When your actions are simpler, discipline becomes possible. This is why effort failed him before. Effort without position creates chaos. Hai replaced chaos with clarity. Ren didn't rely on motivation anymore. He relied on structure. That shift changed everything. This is where his story becomes yours. You don't need more energy. You need fewer reactions. You don't need better tools. You need better positioning. The pressure you feel isn't the problem. Your response to it is. When you stop reacting, you regain control. When you regain control, identity forms. Ren didn't become perfect. He became reliable. And reliability is rare. This is the quiet truth behind discipline. It's not about force. It's about who you become when no one is watching. Identity shapes behavior. That's the lesson Hyōhō leaves behind. Choose position before action. Finish what you start. Act without negotiation. Discipline is not emotion. It is identity. Consistency builds control. Control builds freedom. This is the path Ren learned. And it's the path you can walk too. Before you go, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and tell me in the comments what habit you're working on. Now, back to your journey.